Welcome to She's a Full-On Monet, a digital lifestyle magazine for women. Every week, our editor-in-chief, Kelly Castillo, along with Megan Block and special guests, participate in a deep dive discussion about recent articles and topics we have covered. We invite you to become part of our community where everyone's welcome. You can totally sit with us.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to She's a Full-On Monet. This is episode 40. Yeah, we are officially middle-aged.
I think that's cool. I like it. But at 40, I feel confident. It's like actual age. Like at episode 40, I feel like a good groove, I haven't hit 40 yet, but mid 30s, I'm starting to feel that where it's like, this is me and I'm fine with it. And if you don't like it, that's where we are at episode 40. I feel like we've gotten into a real groove.
I feel like around I'm 45. I feel like around 40 was the last fuck I had fell out of my fuck bucket and I have no more to give. So
love it.
Yeah.
And
great. Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't feel that way with the podcast. I definitely am trying and making this better each episode. I hope you guys feel that we've improved. I think we have.
Yes. I think we're doing a very good job of trying to make our topics and what we talk about a lot of different areas in life and a variety, and can get real niche, but it also can be something that we all universally can, relate to in some way. I think it's cool. I like what we've created.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
And people seem to, because our readership or viewers goes up, viewers, listeners, however you consume us, has gone up, week after week. So that's exciting. And it makes me happy to see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, today's topic, I'm excited about it. This is something, and I think it was last episode, we touched on it briefly. Might've been the episode before that, but it definitely deserved a deep dive. So.
Oh, last episode was about menstrual myths, but it was very, very recent. We touched on this, and it's something that I really started diving into in like 2021 and trying to take it into 2022. And I just think the topic itself is so valuable and so great. And I'm glad we're getting deeper into it.
Yeah, me too. I would say the same. At the end of 2021 through present day, I started doing some like in financial investment stuff that I wasn't as comfortable or familiar with. I'm a strictly a real estate, multifamily real estate person as far as investments go. And I was doing some things that were new to me. So I took some advice from some of the different like podcasts and forums and stuff that I'm involved with of book recommendations. And I read a bunch of different books, not all financial, some just about like, self-growth and stuff. And this is the one that really, I think, had the biggest impact for me in mindset shift.
Yes.
And that was Atomic Habits. Yes, that's the book by James Clear. I'm going to grab it so I can show everybody, but we'll also link it in the show notes. And sorry, I also moved away from the microphone.
No, I'm like looking at my bookshelves to see because I have it too. I think it's in my bedroom though. It's so brilliant.
This is the book. Yes. I read aloud several of the mini chapters to my partner because he's not a big reader. But I thought, these are things that I had heard from him that he had picked up from like Stephen Covey or some of his other mentors that are kind of told in a different way in the book. They use different analogies and stuff, but I was reading him parts of this and he got so excited about it that he ordered copies of the book for all of the salespeople at his office.
I consume the book through audio. And I just I couldn't stop because at the time I was driving a long distance to work at that time. And I was like, well, this is great because I normally just listen to the same 6 songs on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really getting into podcasts, but I'm like, this is great because I wanted to read it, but I knew if I left it up to me, it wouldn't happen. And it just made me look at things differently. It made me shift my habits completely. And it's so valuable. I love it. So if you're a reader, definitely pick it up. If you struggle with reading, there's alternate options. Like I
right.
But consume it somehow. It's so great.
Yeah. Even if you really feel like the time crunch is an issue for you, he also sells a summary of the book and
Mm.
workbooks. If you purchase the book on Amazon, then you can go to his website and put in your receipt, upload your receipt, and you get a bunch of free workbooks and checklists and stuff. So amazing.
So cool.
We love him. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's basically how to break bad habits, how to build healthier habits. And I think that's something that every person I can think of has a bad habit that they don't like, that they would prefer they didn't have. It doesn't have to be something super serious, just something that, isn't aligning with the vision of yourself that is, your highest self, really. So we all have an idea of who we would be if we had all the time in the world and the ability to meet all our goals and all of the roadblocks were out of the way. Like, this is who I would be if I didn't have all these other responsibilities. And so, like I think I mentioned this in a past episode too. Because of this, I'm trying to do something every day that even brings me a tiny little step closer to that version of myself. So that he gives a great analogy in this book about how if a plane is taking off from Seattle, say, and you change the trajectory even 1 degree, you'll end up, instead of New York, you'll end up in Washington, D.C. So it's tiny little micro changes that compound over time and create a whole new version of ourselves. Super exciting.
I think it's great. It's because I practice this and I notice that when I do the good habits, I mean, man, things are so different than when I just wing it, And so I think it's a great piece of knowledge for everyone. And these habits don't have to be like major ones, but there are things that we do that over time can pile up to be really far away from what we want. It's like, oh, I have this goal. And then you do these things at night that keep you from getting to that goal the next day. And then you feel guilty about it. It's like this guilt spiral. It's like not good. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just little small things that we're going to discuss that could break you from these things that you feel. Sometimes we feel almost like we're not in control. Like it's not even us. It's so emotionally triggered or, triggered by, something is triggering you where you feel like you don't have any control over it. So it's sometimes it's nice to feel like you have a little bit of control,
Yeah. And that's one of the things that really struck me about this book is the way that he suggests letting go of negative self-talk. When we say things like, oh, why do I always procrastinate? Now I don't have time, or I'm going to be late, or I'm so lazy. Why can't I get my butt to the gym? Like I'm a sloth, that negative self-talk is exactly the opposite of what will help you break the bad habits or build the good habits. If we already talk to ourselves like we are that best version of ourselves, like I am a person who goes to the gym every day versus like, why can't I get my lazy fat butt to the gym? Like that kind of different talking to ourselves in our own heads helps us to break those patterns and accepting that we're not doing that thing that we know we should be doing, not because we're bad or lazy or something's wrong with us, but just because we don't have a system in place for that to happen. So it's
a deeper meaning. Like, what is it really about? Like, is it about like, are you like, there's always something that's really keeping you from it. Do you not value yourself enough to like put yourself in a priority to shift that habit? Like, is it your comfort zone? Is it the thing that, you don't want to let go of? It's like, it's not the thing. It's because if you wanted it, you do it. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something blocking you. And once you discover what that is and you're awake to it, then it's much easier to move forward.
Yeah, totally. Can we time out just for a second? There's someone ringing my doorbell.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. That was it was a package I had to sign for, so I'm glad I got it.
Love those, because then
Yeah.
you have to like wait the next time around, or
And I'm like, we live in a gated community, just leave it. Like, who's gonna steal it? But they don't. So
that's a good point. All right. Well, yeah, we'll just cut that little part out.
yeah, please edit that out. So obviously this is a big book. It is not terribly thick, not intimidatingly thick, but it's there's a lot of information in here.
Yeah.
So even though we're going to kind of like skim over the strategies in the book, it really deserves a read. We're definitely not going to get deep enough into it for you guys to get the benefit out of it that you would get if you read it.
And let me say this too. It deserves the respect that whatever you consume information, do that. Like, I know that if I just straight read words, it's not going to get to the point where it's going to change an activity. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to read it and go, that was a really well put sentence. But somehow hearing it, just like listening to podcasts, I consume it. Even though it's the same words, I consume it in such a different way that actually causes me to change my behavior. However you consume that type of, like, give it that respect. It's not like a nice little read about like, no, it's like a legit life-changing thing if you give it that type of respect. So I always want to say that too.
This is a book that I just read it last month, but I can already see that I'll probably revisit it a year from now or something.
I wish I could just like reconsume it all the time because I need reminders.
Yeah, this is definitely something I will reread. So one of the first points that he makes in the book is that in order to build a new habit or to break a bad habit, or an old habit, we need to stop focusing so much on the goal. We have a habit of, I want to lose weight, or I want a promotion, or stop focusing so much on the specific goal and focus on the systems that you can put in place that will help you achieve that goal. Because a lot of times the end goal, we may not have 100% control over. It may have, influence of other people, companies, things that you don't necessarily have complete control over, but we do have control over the systems in our own life. So that's a really important distinction, I think, because I've gotten caught up on that, where I'm like, I'm going to start eating healthier. And then one bad day and I'm like, well, there goes that. I failed, So if you get too hung up on the end goal, instead of focusing on perfecting the systems, it's not great. Yeah.
I agree. No, I think we all kind of have felt that with like the pandemic. That was so out of our control,
Exactly.
But if we focus on what is in our control, we can do a lot more than we actually think we can. And you're focusing on the right things and not what is not. And if it's not in your control, it doesn't deserve that type of, space in your mind. Focus on what you can control.
So when you're setting, I'm using the term goal, but when you're setting an intention, what he wants you to do is to kind of have an image in your mind of your personal ideal version of yourself, who you would like to be, and embody that person. Start to just take a moment and like sit there and imagine yourself as already that version of yourself, and how you would carry yourself, and how you would talk, and how you would dress, and how you would behave, and the monologue that you would have in your head if you were already that person. And he says that, the choices that we make on a day-to-day basis, they compound and they result in who you ultimately become. Who you become is a result of all the little choices that you make on a day-to-day basis and a moment-to-moment basis. So one of the quotes that he says in the book is to look at our daily systems and routines and ask ourselves, does this behavior help me become the type of person I wish to be? Does this habit cast a vote for or against my desired identity? And that is what I had mentioned in the past episode, how I try to do something every day that I can say got me even a tiny bit closer to that version of myself. Yep. And some days it's one thing. Some days it's like, I did this one thing today, but I do something every day, even if it's like so tiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's been proven in like a bunch of different fields that if just hacking away with your axe a little bit at the tree, you're going to get results you know, it will work. So just focus on that. Focus on good, consistent habits.
Yeah. So he has the book kind of separated into two parts: how to build a new habit, and then secondarily, how to break an old habit. He doesn't call them good habits and bad habits. He calls them new habits and old habits, which I think is good. I think that's nice. So the 4 steps, he says, to breaking down how to build a new habit. And when you hear it, it seems so obvious, but it's not. It's not, if you really think about it.
That's what I felt like with the whole book. I felt like these all things are things we truly kind of already know, but said in a way where you're like, oh, you know, like, but it's not new. It's not new.
Right.
It's just regurgitated information that we can consume and do something about, you know?
Right. When I read these like 4 steps, my knee-jerk reaction was how obvious they were.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what I was recognizing was the simple truth in them.
Exactly.
Even though they
why are you not doing it? You know?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
It can't be that obvious then, but you do hear it and you go, duh. But then you're like, oh, well, duh. You know, like you don't know why you're not. It's easier said than done. Okay.
Right. If you put them into actual practice, then yes, they're obvious. But if you're recognizing it and not doing it, then they're not.
Yeah.
So the steps are to build a new habit. You have to 1, make it obvious. 2, make it attractive. 3, make it easy. And 4, make it satisfying. So I think between some of those steps, there can be a little bit of overlap, but I think each one is pretty important to the overall goal.
I think they're all important to the overall like longevity of it.
Yes.
You know, without any of, like, if you take away one of those, the chances of it becoming a habit, which is something that you do over time, right, is going to lessen because the longevity won't be there. You need those things
right
in order for it to become a habit.
So, you know, in an effort to make things easier, because as humans, we always take the easiest path, almost always. It's our kind of our default is to always choose the easiest option. So we have to help ourselves by making the habit that we want as easy as possible. Meaning, if you're trying to eat healthier, obviously, this is the obvious and the easy. You need to have a fridge stocked with healthy foods. You need to have them as close to already prepared as possible.
Exactly. That's why they meal prep. That's why they clean the vegetables and cut them up ahead of time. Because when you go to the fridge and you see a strawberry and they're not washed and prepped and cut, you're going to go for the other thing.
Right.
Know?
I mean, to eat a bag of chips, all you have to do is literally open the bag of chips.
Love it though.
Right. It's so good. To eat, you know, fruit or vegetables, if you haven't made it as attractive and as easy, you have to chop, you have to, you know, get different containers out and open it. You're going to say, who needs that? Like, I'm just going to grab it.
That's why it is too consuming for people, which is why they rely on meal prep services, which I think are fantastic because you still get the end result you want and you don't have to hear the excuse factory come out when it's time to eat, you know, and you're hangry and stuff like that.
Right.
We're using exercise and health because it's such an overall
it's the
example. But this can go for anything.
This can go for anything. Yeah. That is kind of the default. Like, for me, I have found that I walk my dogs really early in the morning at like 7 a.m. and they won't let me wait much longer than that. And I have learned that I'm in my pajamas at 6:45, right? So if I change into sweats to walk them, sweats and slippers to walk them, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. That's my exercise for the day. If I change into workout clothes to walk them, I'm much more likely when I get back, I'm already in the workout clothes to then do an actual workout. Whereas if I'm in sweats and I have to take that extra step to change into workout clothes, I'll be like, I walked them. That's some exercise. Like I will talk myself out of it just for that one extra. And I'm already have to change, right? I already have to change out of my pajamas. So I might as well change right into the exercise clothes. It's easier. And if I have them laid out, even easier. And if I organize them in the drawer by set, like easier. I have to make it as easy as possible. I have to put my little running shoes or workout sneakers out. I have to put the workout clothes like in the drawer where I can just grab once. I mean, I have to look for things. I have to make it as easy as possible for myself. And then once I'm, wearing the cute workout outfit, and yeah, then I want to go work out because I feel
you don't
cute.
have to tell me that. It's all when I go to the gym, it's like I make a day of, I don't make an actual day of it, but it's my self-care. And so
Yeah.
I invest in a lot of, and I tell people all the time, buy cute gym stuff and buy cute workout clothes, because then you feel better. Your workout's better. You'll want to work out, even if it's just for you, you'll just feel great. And then instead of like throwing on some baggy sweats, it's just easier to roll over to the couch and chill.
Yeah. Or if you pack your gym bag, if you go to the gym after,
right?
Yeah. If you go to the gym after work, if you pack your gym bag and put it already on the passenger seat of your car, you're more likely to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And then
it's all about preparation.
It's all about preparation.
If it means something to you, then prepare for it. And then you don't have to hear, because the excuses will come because it's not a habit yet. And they talk about that. It's not a habit yet. So you have to create a habit out of it. So make it easy for yourself. So all you have to do is just get up and get ready. Like I used to meet a trainer at 6 a.m. That no matter what your goal is, that stuff's impossible sometimes because it is dark and cold and annoying. I would, like you said, my gym bag would be in the car, my clothes would be sitting out. I would hit snooze 50 times because all I would have to do is roll over, put it on, and show up. But if I had to get up, like find my outfit
in the dark without waking your husband.
We're waking up my kids, like I would never go. And so you got him, but it was important to me, and this trainer was making time for me, and so there's no reason not to make it a habit if you prepare.
Yeah, that's another thing that we're going to touch on, the trainer portion of if your goal or your habit you want to build involves working out, having a what they call an accountability partner, and that doesn't need to be someone that you pay. That can be a workout friend. That can be someone. I have a neighbor in my neighborhood who I walk with in the mornings. We started walking at the same time. We always ran into each other. So now we walk together.
Oh, fun.
It's nice. And we chat. And if I don't see her or she doesn't see me, it's not a big deal. Sometimes things come up, but I know that she's waiting, she'll wait by my
accountability partner, right?
Right. She'll wait by my gate for me for a little bit. So it's hard for me to know that someone's counting on me and not show up. And then with trainers, and it could be a nutritionist, a trainer, it could be therapy, it could be a therapist. If you prepay for things, or you have, you're going to get a big cancellation fee if you don't go, that's a huge accountability partner, because I'll cancel on myself all day long and twice on Sundays, but I won't cancel on friends, and I won't cancel on things that I paid money for.
Which is so nice, because my husband was a trainer forever, and I have friends that are trainers. You don't know how many people just will like rant, just like, I'm not coming. Like they do not care sometimes.
No, my partner does that. The trainer will be knocking on the door and he'll be like,
no,
it's 12 steps. I'm not going up there. Okay.
Man, hopefully they get paid anyway, but it's just like, dang, like, it does make it easier if you have friends, trainers, counting on you, like a group, join some sort of group, that's relying on you, where you can all just be there for each other, because like, no matter what it is, a habit is a tough thing sometimes to form when it's been resisted for so long, where it goes against what your comfort zone is. A lot of they find comfort in the things they know are really bad for them, and they know they need to break it, and they know it's an inevitable cycle, but they're not like ready. They'll never be like ready, and they need help,
Well, here's the thing. Society overall has made unhealthy options easier for us. It's easier to go through a drive-through. It's easier to order a pizza or take out. It's easier not to go to the gym. It's easier to sit on the sofa and flip through the channels, or stream, or watch something on your phone, like, fall down the TikTok rabbit hole.
There are a lot of really weird, easier, expensive ways to lose weight without having to do any sort of working out. People will go to extremes to avoid the what they know.
Right. Diet pills and things like that are a bazillion-dollar industry. And so making it obvious and making it easy will just help you.
Attractive.
If you at least equal the playing field, if it's as easy as the old habit is, then and you want it, you're more likely to choose it.
Yeah.
And
Here's the thing, working out sucks. It sucks, especially if you haven't done it in a really long time. Buy a cute workout outfit so that when you're having to do it, at least you feel kind of cute. I don't know. Like it doesn't even it out. It makes no sense at all. Yet somehow it feels like punishment and crime. Like it feels like a double punishment when you look like crap and you're having to push a tire and run a mile and all this stuff for the first time, you know, like just do it for you so that you continue to, so you go to the next one.
Yeah. And I want to give an example of a non-health related goal, because we are kind of focusing on that just because it's the default. It's so easy. We all have, all have those kinds of goals. But company I worked for back in the 2000s, I was doing sales calls and I had a quota. I had to do 50 sales calls a day. And this company, I mean, got this plan. They understood, make it obvious in this way. They gave me a daily planner, which every day had a sheet of lined paper with 50 boxes next to it. 1 through 50. And I had to, as I made each sales call, I checked the box and wrote the name of the person I called. And if at the end of the day, I hadn't hit 50, it was visual, it was obvious, it was clear that I did not meet my goal. That to me, as a visual person, was very motivating, because I was like, I'm so close. Let's just get it. Let's do it. Like, and there was an obvious, attractive and satisfying reward, right? Because the pay scale was based on hitting that 50 calls. So an example he gives in the book, which is very similar, is if you have to do something like sales calls, you can have 2 jars on your desk, one full of paper clips, however many calls you're intending to make that day, and one empty. And then every call that you make, you physically move a paper clip over, and it's visual and tactile. So people are very satisfied by having something tactile like that. Like
that's why I do list writing and I highlight it when I'm done, because it's so satisfying to see like what I have left, how much I did that day. I know, like, it's different. I know I'm productive no matter what, but seeing it and moving it and doing it, like I like really know. And it's such a different feeling. And it's like, it makes me feel like I was productive in the areas that I wanted to be, and
absolutely
not in other areas, which is fine. But it's like, if I really wanted to focus, it's such a great way. I love that idea.
Yeah. So when he says make it obvious, part of that making it obvious is to have visual cues of success, that you did the habit, something that feels like satisfying to do. We use for Monet, we use a calendar system called Asana. We all share it and use it. I also use it for my personal calendar. So if I check off one of my tasks in Asana, a little flying unicorn goes across the screen. It's very visually satisfying. I love it, because it's not just like crossing it off on the list.
I was not prepared for that.
A little unicorn and confetti goes across the screen.
Oh, and nailed it. They nailed it with that.
Yes, it's very satisfying. Very, very satisfying. So if you have a goal that is just personal for you and you don't have that kind of financial reward tied to the goal, you can create other rewards for yourself that will achieve this, make it attractive, make it satisfying, habit breakdown that he gave us. And that could be like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. And even if I don't get a great workout in, I'm going to be at the gym and I'm going to reward myself afterwards with a smoothie that I love from their little smoothie bar. Or if I go to the gym on my set schedule that I've determined for myself 10 times in a row, then I'm going to buy myself a cute new workout set. It can be anything that motivates you, that gets, makes you feel happy, like your endorphins or whatever, like whatever it is. You can do these rewards for yourself based on the habit building and sticking to your accountability. Because a promise that you make to yourself is harder to keep. We all break promises to ourselves more often than we break them to other people. I think it's just kind of how it goes. But if we've made a promise to ourselves and our reward for that is tangible and specified ahead of time, then I think maybe we're more likely to keep it. I hope so. I think that would work for me if I was trying to build a new habit.
Yeah, no. And make sure that you're doing those little rewards, like not too far out, because sometimes that, like I spoke on, like that first few weeks or however long is the hardest because you're building it, and sometimes like we all need that little reward. But I think it's a great way to find his method or their method, and then do it in a way that suits your situation.
Yeah. And one of the tips that he gives is something called habit stacking, where if you already have a routine in the morning that you're, always do the same thing at the same time in the morning, all you have to do is add something to a task you're already doing. So if your new habit is that, you've been really bad about taking a specific medication and you need to do it, your doctor says you need to do it, but you forget every day. It's just at the end of the day, you're like, dang it, I didn't take my medicine this morning. You can habit stack where you add that to something already existing in your routine. So you can say, when I make my coffee, I'm going to take my medicine. And you have it become part of an existing routine, which makes it more, it establishes that new habit quicker because you're stacking it with something that already exists.
I think that's great.
Yeah. Or when I put my shoes on, I'm going to put my gym bag in the car or whatever. I don't know what it is, but like
when I go take the kids to school, I'll take the trash out then. Like just something simple like that. Like you're already going and doing something that's habitual. Add what you're trying to make habitual into that habit.
Yeah. Like, if you're trying to eat healthier at the office for lunch, but by the time lunch hits, you're tired, you're kind of grouchy, and you just grab something convenient and usually not good for you, you can add the habit stacker of, okay, when I drop my child off at school, I'm going to, go to that salad bar at the grocery store and build my salad and take it with me to the office. I'm going to add that one step. And that can start a habit where you eventually will get to the point where you're, packing your lunch at home the night before. If that seems like too much to start with, you can have
because you're not making an emotional based decision, and that's when a lot of our bad habits come out, which are not, like, I don't want to say bad habits. That's a bad habit. Our old habits come out when we're doing something that kind of catches us off guard. It's been a long, hard day, stressful day. You got into a fight with so-and-so. That's when these decisions come out, and you had the best of intentions when you woke up, but now all of a sudden this is into place. I noticed that when I haven't eaten all day and I've only had a nice coffee, I make a lot of emotional based decisions rather than more level-headed ones. And that's just lack of preparation sometimes, that if I had something ready to eat, rather than make excuses for my old behavior, I could just prepare ahead of time so that I could make a more well-rounded decision,
Right. And that could be your habit stacking. You could say,
habit
when
stacking.
I drop off my child at school, there is a Starbucks right there, and I'm going to go and get an egg bite because I'm not going to go to the McDonald's because I'm not going to get a sausage muffin.
That, like, I make my eggs every day and I never make myself breakfast. And so instead of trying to take some miracle time to make myself a separate breakfast, I just add an extra egg and eat some of the eggs. So at least I already have something good. And I'm already making breakfast, just make it slightly bigger so that I can eat two. Like, why can't I eat two at the same time? Why do I have to wait until they're ready to go to school? Like, I should eat two,
Yeah, I did that at the end of last year because I realized I wouldn't eat breakfast until I was starving, and then I would grab whatever was close.
Whatever croissant.
And if I was a lot of times by the time that happened, I was out already for the day running my errands. So I would stop and get a bagel or, something bad.
It's like 11:30 and you're like, do I lunch now? I mean, that's the thing is you got to take time for yourself. Like you got to know that you're worth 5 minutes. You're worth an egg. Okay.
So that's what I did. That's exactly what I did because every morning at the same time, every morning after we walk, I feed the dogs.
Yeah.
And usually my day has not commenced the chaos yet. So if I can take the time to feed the dogs, I can feed myself. So
that's what I figured out. Habit stacking.
Yeah. Yep. So while I'm mixing the dog's food, I'm cracking an egg into the pan. I added like protein at that time of day for me. And it was life-changing. I feel so much better.
Your head is, you can handle, like, you can do a math problem. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a difference between just being straight on coffee till 11 and then being able to like actually function. So, and I realized that I didn't have to create a whole new time frame, a whole new habit. I just had to just add an extra egg. Like it
'Cause
wasn't
that's exactly
hard,
what it was. I was already in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I already had I was
Already doing
standing
it.
there.
What am I doing? I just didn't prioritize my own damn self enough to add that extra egg. Like it literally took what felt like way too long to figure out this problem. Like, why was I making eggs for how many months and not adding an extra egg for myself, and then sitting there and scratching my head and going, why don't I eat? Hello, because like you're making breakfast. What are you doing? It's because I don't care enough about myself to put that extra egg. So don't be like me. But it's a great example of habit stacking, because you're already in the kitchen, just like you and I.
Right. And I hadn't been doing it because I wasn't feeling hunger cues yet. But what I realized is I don't have to wait.
You were waiting for a
cues.
starving cue is what you were waiting. You were waiting for your body to go, we might be dying. Like, I think we need to consume our fat because I think she's stuck in the mountains somewhere. Like, when you feel really sick because you're that hungry, that's normally when I'm like, maybe I'll stop and eat a banana, something, don't do that. So it's just habit stacking because it's not that much extra work.
No. And I've changed my morning to having protein in the morning and being intentional about what I eat versus being out and going through Dunkin' or, Bruegger's bagels or something.
Oh, I miss those days.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, but now when you do it, it's like you make it a thing. Like, it's like,
it's not a routine.
I'm going to get a bagel today. Not like, where do I get food right now? Like,
and having some nutrition in the morning, I've noticed that I was yawning by like 1 o'clock. I would be like, ugh, I'm done. Yeah. And I thought, okay, it's just because you get up so early in the morning, like that's normal. It's not normal. No. It's not normal to run out of energy halfway through the day.
It's actually okay to not have any sort of caffeine at all. Like, real good, nutritious, real food actually can give you the energy you need to get through your day. A lot of people think that they need,
oh my gosh. I read something saying that eating an apple in the morning gives you the same amount of energy rush that having a cup of coffee does. I have not tested that out. I'm still on my coffee.
I'm telling you that this has probably been common knowledge forever, but Starbucks pays enough money for that to like be like hidden from the world. Like, don't tell anyone. Like, we need our customers, because I don't know, I'm still not going to eat the apple. I'll probably have it in like, a fritter form with my coffee. How about an apple fritter? Is that the same?
It counts.
Yeah. No, it's just little, I love habit stacking, because it's like a lot of people, we tend to overthink these things when all you really need to do is just find where's that good habit, and does that maybe fit in with what I'm trying to accomplish,
right? My older daughter, who now, is a fully functioning adult, but when she was a teenager, she had a bad habit, or an old habit of misplacing her car keys. She did it every single day, and she was late for school every single day.
Happening. My husband used to do that, and it's not fun.
It was not fun.
Everyone helps. Ugh.
It went on for weeks, if not months, and finally, we put a little hook right next to her.
We taped it right to her face.
Right next to her bedroom door. When she walked in her bedroom, there was a little hook. We screwed it into the wall, and we said, okay, here you go. Every day when you come home from school, when you set down your bag, you hang up your key. And we made it a habit stack, right? Because she was already walking in the door and throwing her bag on the floor. So we continue to throw your bag on the floor, but that just make it a muscle reflex where then you hang up your key. And soon enough, her keys were on that hook every morning, and it saved her probably 15 minutes of time trying to retrace her step, look for her key. We tried everything.
My husband does the same.
Tile, air tag, all that. It was.
What about, did you ever get one of those things where like you hit a button and the alarm goes off because it's attached to the key ring?
That's what we had, a tile. I got her a tile for that Christmas.
Yeah.
She would be hearing it, and she'd be like, nah, hear it. Where is it? Digging through her messy room.
My husband's the same way. And I eventually had to get like a bowl right next to where he walks in, because it wasn't just the keys. It was the keys, the wallet, the earbuds. Like I couldn't tile everything. Right. And he had an excuse for everything. I'm like, well, can you just hang it on the hook? I did the hook thing too. And he's like, well, then I'm going to forget to put it on the hook. I'm like, how about a bowl for all your things? And that's what we have, because for years it wasn't just him that would be late and stressed out and leave the house all pissed off and tired. It would be me and him, because I'm turning on couch cushions, trying to find everything. It's just, and now that you bring it up, honestly, I haven't thought about it in a very long time, because we have developed
the bowl.
the bowl. And I'm like, actually that bowl is super solid, because like it's very rare he can't find like his keys or his wallet, because he's now developed this habit of just throwing everything in the bowl. Because it's maddening. That's the worst habit ever, is to lose your keys. Because it's like, you finally, when you find them, you feel like an idiot, because you're like, oh, that's where it was. And then you're stressed out and you're going to school or work and you're late and you have to, like, it's the worst way to start your day. And
Absolutely.
It's such a negative space to be in, that I got so tired of it that I just wanted to find a system that would work. And he had an excuse for all of it. Like, if this bowl doesn't work, like, you just need to see help.
Right. And that this is, again, exactly what James says in the book. He said it's not about the results that you want to achieve. It's about the systems and processes that lead you to those results. So you didn't have a system, and that was the problem. My daughter did not have a system, and that was the problem. You just need to develop a system that works for you.
That speaks. Yeah, exactly. Because my system is so different. Like, a hook is enough for me. And he's like, no. So you got to find the system that speaks to you as an individual.
Right. Right. And these are things you can help your kids with too. If they have a problem giving you permission slips and school papers until morning of, you can have it stacked for them so that when
have you seen a classroom just wing it? No, there are folders and files and cubbies and cabinets for everything, because teachers are like, enough of your drama. Like, here's your things with you. Yeah, there's a system. There's a system.
Like, when you come in the door and you sit down and have your after school snack, you're going to be taking the papers out of your backpack and you're going to be sorting them through and throwing things away and giving me what I need. You can do that while you're eating. And I mean, just whatever works for your family and works for you.
You would know better than anyone. You have 4 kids that all went through school. Like, there was bins. There's got to be bins.
Oh, I can tell you one of the systems that I believe saved my sanity when my children were small, because I can't tell you how many arguments in my house about, this is mine and he took it. She touched that's my jacket, whatever it was. And my boys, especially, they're 18 months apart. And so everything is the same size, and there was a lot of fighting. So we did color coding. Every kid had a color. Their luggage was that color. Their jacket had that color sticker on it. Their backpack and lunchbox was that color. Their toothbrush was that, like, every kid had one color assigned to them. So if my oldest said, he took my, scissors or whatever, I'd be like, actually, clearly he did not, because that's not your color. Wow. You lost your scissors. So even as we took it all the way, like, for wrapping paper at the holidays, color coded. Easter egg hunts, every kid got assigned a color.
Oh, that's a must. Like, now I don't mess around. I did that the first year where I just, like,
free for all. It's chaos.
No, you get prints, you get solids. Like, no.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
And because the gap between the older kids and the younger kids got bigger as they got older, I could hide the kids' colors who were older really hard, and the little ones, eggs, real, like, just throw them on the grass.
True. Yeah, there was right, and they still had trouble. It's like, you got it.
But otherwise, the big ones will grab all the ones on the grass, and then the little one gets nothing.
Who wants to play judge and jury all day long? Who's right and who's wrong? And then, even if the evidence is the most solid that it's ever been, the kid still comes out feeling like you favorited one over the other. Yeah. And it's like, but you admitted to it. Yeah, but, like, you chose his side. No, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's insane. Parenting is a serious gangster, insane game. Come prepared with a system. You can't just wing it.
You gotta have a system.
It's crazy in here. Atomic Habits needs to be a must read for, like,
oh, you know what?
He should to expect when you're expecting. It's right up there with parenting must, because
he should rewrite the book and have it be Atomic Habits for parents, and have it just be parental systems. Yeah. I would read that book, and I don't even have kids at home anymore. I would still read that book.
Just so you could be like, where was this was this be a bit of information when I was trying to figure this out? Like, oh man. Yeah, no, for real though, because, like, if you try and it just doesn't work. It saves your sanity in all areas of life. Even if you're not a parent and you're just trying to figure out, how do I make this real? For instance, how do I really start to develop good financial habits if I've always had a problem with spending money? Like, how do I truly do it? Like, it could be anything. And so you just have to form a system that's going to favor your end result, because just having a favorable end result is not enough.
No, and it has to be easy and it has to be obvious.
Attractive?
So if you have a problem with your financial budget, there are a ton of apps that pull the information straight out of your bank account, categorize it for you, and then all you have to do is like review it and make the changes that it suggests. That is a very easy problem to solve. If your goal is, to read more this year, read, different kind of books than you've been reading, buy it, put it on your nightstand. Don't keep telling yourself, oh, I'm going to go to the library didn't have it, so I guess I can.
Right. If you want to buy like less of these, put a like a bean in a jar every single time you didn't go through that drive-through, because it's, you know that the money's still in the account, but you see the beans add up and you know how much you really saved, $5.55.
And create your reward system and create a reward system.
Once you get 15 beans in the jar, go buy yourself that cute Top-It tart or whatever it is, because you do go through the drive-through every day, and just simply not going through the drive-through isn't going to be satisfying enough. You know what I mean?
You can buy the coffee machine that makes the fancy drinks that you like. You can buy the cute travel mugs so you can take it to work with you and your cute
but you
little
got to make it
travel
obvious.
Mug.
You got to make it attractive. You got to.
So
it's more
what
than
does that
just
mean?
Doing it.
That means that the machine needs to be on the counter in eyesight. That means that the little pods for it, or however you use it, need to be right there. And or even at night, for me, my coffee, I preload my pod in my coffee maker.
Oh, me too.
And I have my cup sitting right there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm blurry in the morning, all I have to do is literally push the button. Yeah. So, make it as easy as possible and as attractive as possible, and you will do it. And we're going to talk about the inverse of that now, like how to break old habits. And it's really just exactly the opposite of how to build new habits. One, make it invisible. One was make it obvious. This one is make it invisible. Two, make it unattractive, right? The other one was make it attractive. Make it difficult versus make it easy, and make it unsatisfying. It's really that simple. And I know for me, like when I was trying to eat healthier and feed my body in a better way, I couldn't throw out all the snacky foods in my house because I don't live alone. So, and other people would be like, where's my food? So I literally,
right. You can't just have what if your goals are different than your housemates?
Right. My partner
live that like life.
Have the goal to stop eating chips. It has the goal to eat all the chips.
Bullshit life. Where's all the flavors?
How am I can't decide for both of us. So all I did was move that shelf higher than my sight line. So I could still reach them if I needed to, but they were not at my eye level. So at my eye level was now things like mixed nuts and trail mix and dried fruit, like things that I was trying to be more natural at least. So if I did go for a snack, I was much more likely to grab right what's in my eyesight.
Or you'd have to really go for it, like, and it's almost like, or like if you just are getting over a breakup and the bad habit is to like check back in on that person, make them invisible, stop following them on social media or hide their feed, make them unattractive, start to when you think about them, start to think about them in a way that's not really like your old narrative. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to break old habits. It's hard to think, and things that just no longer suit your new life. And so you got to trick your brain in a way to where it's still in line to where you can get past that hump, right?
Right. Like, if you're trying
the hard part,
you're trying to avoid ordering so much takeout and that has become your default. Besides doing the positive stuff, like stacking your fridge with pre-made meals and things like that, take the number of your favorite takeout place off your fridge, out of your phone.
If you have
to do that extra step of Googling the phone number, it's just every extra step makes it more likely that you won't do it.
Yes.
If you're trying to
out of sight, out of mind, for real. Like you really have to make it hard, because then the longer it takes, the more you start to second guess your choices.
Exactly.
Like, what am I doing? I don't know why was this happening. And then eventually, if it's not seen so much, not in your head so much, not in your face so much, it'll just pass. It's just that storm of that first getting over that old habit is so hard, because it's just like that it's like any person who's addicted to like some sort of drug, you know, you want that fix, and you have to find a way to move past that and be bigger than it, especially in those moments where you feel weakest, right?
A lot of our habits are not even that satisfying anymore, but they are just impulsive and routine. So if we remove them, the appeal goes away. For like, if you really want to, if your screen time on your phone is concerning you and you really want to cut that out, delete all of, first of all, you can just remove all the notifications on your phone. That's a wonderful first step. When you stop seeing those little pop-up notifications, it will keep you from clicking on it as easily. Secondly, if that's done enough, delete the social media apps from your phone completely. Meaning if you want to check your Facebook or Instagram or whatever, you have to sign in from a computer, or you have to re-log in on your phone. That to me would be enough. I'm not attached to it enough to want to do that step. So, but I will mindlessly scroll. If I'm waiting somewhere, if I'm, you know, my husband gets up from the table and goes away for a few minutes, I'll pick up my phone and just start scrolling I don't even care. It's not even like I'm needing the information. I'm just impulsively
I have to
reacting.
physically like put my phone in another room and leave it. Like sometimes I'll even like not hide it in a drawer, but I'll put it in a drawer. I'm not hiding it from anybody but me, just because physically sometimes just seeing my phone, even when I'm off work and chilling, like I will choose to mindlessly scroll over, like actively be engaging in real life. And it's so bizarre to me. And so like if just simply leaving it away and not in sight will, like, for long enough, about 5 minutes or so, like I'll already be in the routine of doing whatever I'm doing that I've already forgotten about my phone. But having it physically in my sight, sometimes even when I don't want it, will just cause that behavior to happen, you know?
Yeah. And a lot of times people are trying to fix some of the sleep issues that they're having by not using any blue light devices at least an hour before bed.
Yeah.
And that is hard to do. It's if you are trying to build that new habit, break that old habit, you charge your phone in a completely separate room from yourself if you can. I can't, because I have kids that don't live with me, and if they had an emergency, I need to be able to answer my phone.
You would already be wondering, for like obvious reasons, is my phone blowing up for a bad thing? Like you can't have that option. Do you have an Apple Watch?
I have an Apple Watch, which I sleep with, because if I wake up in the middle of the night and I want to know like what time it is, I check but I have it on.
You can get alerts on your Apple Watch without having your phone on you.
Right. It can't be like downstairs, but it can be like in the next room. So that is very possible. Okay. And I have even though I sleep with my Apple Watch, I have it on theater mode, which means it doesn't light up as I move. So it doesn't disrupt my sleep unless I wake up enough to tap it to see the time. But it will vibrate softly if I'm getting a call. And if there's an emergency, my kids know that they should call me, not text me, because after like 8:30 or 9, I don't respond to texts. But I have received that middle of the night phone call that no parent ever wants to get.
You're like, I've already been in this position.
Right. And if I can't imagine what would have happened if I had missed the call. It was literally life or death call. So I'm really sensitive about that. And I'm good at not scrolling my phone at night. I prefer to read in bed, but I know that's an issue for a lot of people, and it can really affect your sleep cycle. So if that's the case, wear your Apple Watch, but put your phone in the other room. Or if you don't have a loved one that, you have to worry about calling you in the middle of the night, put your phone in the other room, plug it in at kitchen counter or in the bathroom counter or wherever you need to put it, so that you don't just mindlessly reach for it. There are a lot of other things you can do if you need to wind down in the evening besides scroll. You can read, you do adult coloring books, you can, watch something on the television, whatever it is, like there are other options. So that's definitely a habit that I think a lot of people have that isn't good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a badge of honor when I'm told that my screen time went down by a certain percentage. I'm like, look at me getting better in life. Yeah, we all do it. And we all do it at times we know we shouldn't, like right when we wake up or right before we go to bed. That's universal.
Well, we talked about building a new habit and things like habit stacking or having an accountability partner. And one of the tips that James suggests in the book for trying to break an old habit is to have a habit contract with yourself, where and you can involve another party if you need that accountability, like a friend or partner or coworker or something like that. But what it is basically a contract that you write with yourself about what specific consequences there are going to be if you don't, if you continue to do a habit that you're trying to break.
Mhm.
So like we used the sales call quota as an example earlier. If you are supposed to make a specific number of sales calls, you can work with other people in your team or in your employer and have a situation where if someone doesn't meet their sales call quota for say 3 days in a row or something, they have to buy the whole team lunch, something like that. That would be a very specific consequence.
You have to have something at stake, you know?
Right. So, I mean, if it's a phone issue, you can say, okay, if I don't remember to put my phone in the other room an hour before bed, I'm going to have it on airplane mode all day tomorrow or what. Like, I don't know what would work for you, but you have to have a very specific consequence. So, and those habit contracts, like, again, for me, I break promises to myself, but I won't break them to other people. So if I was to loop someone in, like a friend or an accountability partner on that habit contract, I would be way more likely to keep it.
Because you understand. And that's the thing is, like, the deepest thing is, are you truly passionate? Like, are you truly serious about changing this thing? You know, because if you really are, you'll go to some unique and some uncomfortable situations and extremes to get the job done. And I think that's a lot of people's resistance, you know, is that they're not truly ready for the change. They just want that end result, but the process in which to get it done is not their jam yet. Well, you know, so yeah, you know that if you left it up to just yourself, it wouldn't work. So if having somebody like an accountability partner, you're more likely to succeed.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you the best accountability partners I have in my life, hands down, not even a question, my dogs. Because
Stop it.
I have to walk them several times a day and I don't get a choice in the matter. My little one, you know her very well. She will come. She knows exactly what time it is, even though girl does not wear a watch. I don't know how she knows. She can't even see high enough to see the clock. But she knows at 7 a.m. and again at 2:30, it is walking time. And she will come and stand next to me wherever I am and literally just scream at me until I take her for a walk.
Oh yeah, they don't mess around.
And if it's bad weather or I'm over it or I'm busy and I'm trying to take them on a quick walk, they'll be like, Bish, no. We walk until I tell you we're done walking. I do not get any say in the matter.
Which, by the way, she carries this mentality with her for every decision she makes all day long throughout her entire life, but in the most adorable, like fuzziest way possible. So it's not a problem. Like
it's to the point where if I'm out and I'm looking at my watch and it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get home to walk the dogs. Not because they'll have an accident. Oh no. But because they will be so upset with me.
Explaining to do. Like,
and she's so sassy. She'll jump up and bite me. She'll be so mad. She tries to push me down the stairs. Like that girl is angry.
This is a side note, but like I just remember all the times that you guys would take trips in the car and she thinks she's a person. That's the thing, is that she thinks she's a person.
Yes. And
you're in a very committed, serious relationship, just you two. And what else do you have going on, Kelly, but to make sure her life is all the
she
cozy.
She believes with her whole heart that she is a boss ass bitch. And I am her personal assistant and I'm very bad at my job. And she has to consistently yell at me and tell me off and threaten to fire me.
Yeah.
And this is fully her house. She allows me to live here. I should be grateful. She's
like a cuter version of the dragon lady from Devil Wears Prada. Like
that's
who she is. She's like
Miranda Priestley.
It's never enough, but yet I respect it. And
see, I did not know this was her personality when I got her, because she was a cute little furball and didn't show the feistiness at first. She wasn't spicy for the first few days, or I would have named her Miranda, I think, because she is Miranda Priestley embodied in a small furry ball.
And you're for what's Anne Hathaway's character's name?
Andy.
You're like forever Andy Sachs on like Andy. Day 1 and 2. Like you've never improved on your job.
Right. Like she can't remember my name. She just calls me girl. She's like,
or who's Emily Blunt's character? That could also be her. Because she's a little put out by you a lot. Like,
yeah.
This is off subject, but honestly,
my dog,
in the best way.
I'm not exaggerating that she has actively tried to push me down the stairs multiple times. Multiple times.
Action type stuff. That's
yeah.
crazy.
So yeah, we're off topic, but those are great.
Don't be late. Partners. Don't be late to your walk today.
If you've been contemplating getting a dog and you also have been wanting to up your exercise game, that is a great thing.
Accountability partner.
Accountability partner.
Yeah.
So what is the key then to staying motivated? Once you build the new habits and you break the old habits, how do you stay on track? How do you stay motivated? Because it's human nature that we all get bored and complacent and we let things slip over time. So what James talks about in the book is something called the Goldilocks rule, which I'd never heard before. But he basically says, actually, I'm going to quote him. The Goldilocks rule states that humans experience peak motivation when they work on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. So basically what he's saying is that we stay motivated when we're challenged. So we want to make sure we continue to move the goalpost on our habits farther and farther. It needs to be attainable. It can't be some like crazy dream circumstance. It needs to be attainable, achievable, and quantifiable. Really, we have to be able to measure it. But it needs to be something that's just at the top of our capability level, just at the edge of it, because that will really like, you see this when you see people training for a marathon, you see people like practicing for a huge sports game or something. The athletic mindset of like wanting to reach that absolute pinnacle of capability is something that, even if that's not you athletically, you can take that mindset to other aspects of your life and apply it. Where you're pushing yourself kind of to your boundaries all the time. Yeah. And I think once something becomes routine and part of your routine, then it's like, yes, I do this. And if it's an exercise thing, our bodies love equilibrium, right? So they always kind of even itself out, and what was challenging at first becomes less so. We have to keep pushing our body a little farther each time. And it's the same, like right now, I totally revamped the way that I eat last year. And it just because I wasn't feeling as good as I knew I could feel. And, people in my life were having health problems that made me realize like I need to make changes now in order to be as healthy as possible for as long as possible. So what I've noticed is that now that all those bad or old habits are broken and the new habits are very well established at this point, now there are little things that I can still see that I could tweak or do better. So I think you just continue to move the goalpost a little farther. Yeah. It's like,
but not so far that it's like too unattainable or it takes too long to build up to, because we do need to, I think results are a huge part, when you have like, for instance, we keep using this, but like a weight loss goal, once you hit that like 10-pound mark and you see it physically and you feel it, then that goal, that bigger goal, like feels more attainable, but like you got to hit that small,
and that for the circumstances of our conversation is a great example, because even though, we're not really advocating dieting, we don't really talk about that much on here, but if you did have a weight loss goal or a health goal that you're trying to reach, plateauing is part of the process. And that will create the same frustration, boredom, monotony, because you're not seeing the results the way that when you first start like a weight loss goal, you see results so quickly, and then it starts to slow down and plateau, and it gets
replaced with muscle, which weighs the same amount, and you think you're not losing weight, but you're actually toning up. You know what I mean? It can be frustrating because you don't feel like you're hitting your goals or you're doing something wrong, and everything was going so great, and then it isn't.
You have to be really fluid in what your goals are. Maybe that changes from instead of this number in my head, like it's a magic number, it isn't. I'm going to think about like how my clothes fit my body, or I'm going to think about how I've met certain like strength goals that I want to achieve, or personal time goals. If you're a runner or something like that, you can always shift your specific achievement to better fit your circumstances and what the end result should be. I mean, again, we're imagining our idealized version of ourselves. So if you've gotten really comfortable, if you're trying to like dress more professional, say, and you've gotten really comfortable. You've moved from like jeans and t-shirts into like slacks and trousers and, you know, button downs. Now you can, if you want, if that's still not where you see yourself, you can move it up to the next level where it's something a little bit outside of your comfort zone, like pencil skirts and blazers and things like, if you're, that's where you're going. So there's always like a next level until you, in your head, the version of yourself you have in your head now aligns with the reality version of yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's a great tip to help prevent the boredom that comes with anything like that. Well, I hope that this was good information for everyone. I still strongly encourage you all to get the book Atomic Habits by James Clear and give it a read. It's worth it. There's a lot of really good information in there. It's one of these books. I kept my copy because I know I will be rereading it, but this is a book that I would consider gifting people who are starting careers or just graduated from college or, you know, are any like milestone point in their life, because I feel like it's something everyone can benefit from.
Absolutely. No, I can't think of one person that wouldn't. I mean, we start to build bad habits when we're kids. So, you know, it's like everyone could benefit from it. Even small little things, even if it's just trying to like, I don't know, like make your house a lot less dirty. You want to like build a better daily small habits to like really big habits. And this book, these messages, these tips and tricks are great for everybody.
Yeah, I agree completely. So I know like what habit I am going to be working on. I would love to hear what you guys are thinking about working on and how the steps you're going to take to kind of, you know, make it easy, make it attractive, satisfying, obvious, all the stuff that we talked about. So if you want to share that with us, you can comment on the associated article, which will be live on our site tomorrow, I believe. And, or you can also go to Facebook and search She's a Full-On Monet. We have a Facebook page and it has an attached discussion group. We would love to hear from you guys on there as well. So I'm excited to see what everybody works on.
Yeah, I'm always looking for better tips and tricks and what other people are working on. I love to hear what other people are, you know, it's such a great time right now because it's like we're trying to like just change up some of the maybe the old habits we had before the pandemic. So, you know, it's on everyone's mind. So it's always interesting to see what other people are up to.
Yeah, as much as I am about like loving ourselves and meeting ourselves where we are, I'm also really big into self-improvement because I feel like, you know, we're all here to kind of evolve and become a version of ourselves that just makes us, I'm really proud to be who we are and kind of like soften out all the things about ourselves that maybe we don't love as much. Yep. So yeah, I think this is a really good topic and hopefully you guys got something out of it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode. Don't forget to bookmark our site, she'safullonmonet.com, and subscribe to our newsletter. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. If you're enjoying this podcast, it helps us a lot if you can follow, rate, and review. See y'all next week.